with all of that said, let's go ahead and let's kick things off with our very first topic, and is how are your 2020 goals going? Because if you're anything like me, not so great right around this time. Well, usually when January comes around, I go into a sports detox. It's usually the Jaguars are out of it for, except for 1 year, 2017, out of the entire past decade and really my entrepreneurial career. January has been the first month that I can really dive into my planning. But normally I go through a little bit of a detox because normally we have, a Game of Thrones season coming up, or we have a new Star Wars movie or a new Star Wars show. We do have Clone Wars coming up in February for avid Star Wars fans. But for a lot of casual Star Wars fans, I doubt you're going to be watching Clone Wars. But we normally have something else or I normally have something else to sort of digest and binge. And at this time of the year, it's also historical documentaries and a bunch of like different YouTube videos and different books that you can dive into. January is just such a cool month where a lot of us are staying indoors because we're sick of being social, we're sick of seeing our families after all of the holidays. That's definitely the case for me, where I just sort of go into hermit mode and I read and I write and I plan and I do all of the year's planning in this month. But this January, it's different for me. So I'm also preparing for a move. Like I said earlier in this show, I am preparing to leave a house that I have been in for more than a decade. Yeah, definitely more than a decade. And going through the process of going through each room, I'm taking a meticulous approach where I have to go through and I have to sort through of what to keep, what to put in storage, what to donate. Should I have a garage sale? Should I just give everything away? There's so many decisions to be made. And I think that's, with the thing with January is that's where balance and focus also comes into play. So the gym, the Calm Meditation app, which I swear by, LeBron James just did a partnership with them too that talks about how he prepares for games and big moments. That's a really great listen. But just the Calm Meditation app in general and just getting outside, I think in general, and not outside with a bunch of people, but getting outside into nature. And really, I feel like that just helps me focus. It helps with a greater clarity of what I want to do for the upcoming months, for the rest of this year leading into the following year. And when I started thinking about the move, and it was almost like a light bulb moment for me, because the same methodology or the same method that I'm using for moving is the same thing that I could be applying, is the same methodology that I could be applying to my business and life. What strategies worked well for me last year? What were my biggest returns? What were my biggest failures? What can I keep doing? What should I not be doing? And what advice can I give to others like yourself to learn from my mistakes? And so if you're sort of feeling that same anxiety, this is what I want you to do. I want you to grab a journal or maybe open up the notes app on your phone, really, but anything that you can write on, physically, tangibly write on, not necessarily your phone, because I think that's going to go into my next tip, because I'm going to share some wisdom that I gathered from this bullet style journal. And don't roll your eyes at the bullet style journal. I've tried most of them and most of them are shit, to be honest. Most of them, they feel great in theory. I look at them and I'm like, oh, great, I'm going to use this so many times, and they just sit on a shelf. But this one particular book was very small. It was maybe 20 pages long, and it's called the Lookback Workbook, and it's a reflection and goal setting guide. I have this particular book, but you can just sort of use it has a lot of different questions about reflection. I didn't necessarily answer all of those questions, but what I really, really liked about it, and what I think you can sort of take from it, is using some of their methodology, which really isn't their methodology. It really is just a way to carve out your path and your goals and to make them actionable. So if you have a journal, if you have a notepad, go ahead, get that out. And now you got your notepad. What I want you to do next is I want you to take it and I want you to go outside. I want you to leave the cell phone in the car, and I want you to use this book and this pen or pencil, whatever your pleasure is, and I want you to start thinking. And when you start thinking of the macro level of your 2020 goals, you want to write down 6 of them. 6 goals that you want to accomplish in 2020. Now, for each of those goals, like you want to think, and it's not just, it doesn't have to be business related. Some of mine are personal, some of mine are business. I like a good balance of both. And which each of these goals, you then take out, you go into the micro of it. So your macro is your big time goals, 6 of them that you want to accomplish in 2020. And then you dive into the micro actions that you need to take for each one of those goals. So once you've mapped out each one, and if I was you, this is what I would do. I would write them all down on one sheet of paper, and then on the next very page, write down that first one again. And on that first page, then for each of those goals, you're going to map out monthly milestones that will help you achieve those goals. Are there any of the tasks that you have to do daily, monthly, quarterly? What are those actions that you're going to have to take to achieve that one goal? Break it down by month. If you need to break it down by quarterly, monthly, or even daily, then write those down too. And I would segment them out as far as monthly, maybe quarterly, because I think some of my goals definitely are more centered around the quarterly mark. That seems more achievable for me, to be honest. But you definitely want to have those big tasks that you can tackle for each one of those goals. Now, like I said, I went through this process myself, and it really, really helped gain some mental clarity, and not just with my business, but with this move. This move for me, and I'm moving in with my boyfriend, and it's something about, you know, leaving, because we're both leaving a space that we've lived in solo for years. And we're moving in together. So it was really, really important to both of us that we go to a place where we have at least 3 bedrooms. And it sounds very much like a first world problem. But I've worked hard in my life, and so I feel like I'm at a stage where I can demand that I want at least a 3-bedroom home that we're going to be renting, not buying yet. So it's one of those situations where I have my space, he has his space, and then we have our bedroom where we come together, and obviously the rest of the living situation. But that was one of my goals that was in the book, and it's like, how am I going to tackle this project? And tackling a move is a lot like tackling a business plan and mapping out those goals for yourself, because it really helped me in the clarity department, because this move is about coming together as a team to build something greater than ourselves. But it's also encouraging each other to grow individually. So your business goals and your personal goals are both equally as important, but all those goals are just dreams if you don't have an actionable plan. So get that Lookbook Plan Ahead workbook. You can either make one yourself in just a random notepad or a random notebook, or you can snag one that I actually used, and you can find it at free-press.com. I bought mine at a random shop in Atlanta, so maybe they have it at a random bookstore that's close to you, but if you wanted to snag it online, it's free-press.com, and it's called the Lookback Plan Ahead workbook.